Episode 114 this week, Shades of Grey. Finally, we get to the last episode of the second season. We finally hit it. It took a while. It's been a slog, but we get to it. This one, Commander Riker and Geordi LaForge are down on a planet doing a survey mission, and Riker got stung by some sort of vine, and he's sitting there. LaForge wants him to beam back up to the ship, get looked at by the doctor. Riker's kind of laughing it off, but they go by protocol, call the ship. Pulaski can't let him beam aboard with unknown pathogens in his leg, apparently. So she ends up going down to check on Riker so she can clear him to be transported back to the ship. O'Brien kind of jokes around with her with the transporter, and Pulaski doesn't like that a bit. But she gets down there, clears Riker to go back to the ship. They go back up to the ship, and his leg's going numb. He's not feeling well. Picard sends Data and LaForge back to the planet to get a sample of what stung him. So they find this vine. Data uses Geordi as live bait, so the vine swings out. Data snatches it, and they phaser off a sample. Pulaski gets the sample, but she doesn't know how to really stop it. The infection is spreading, and it's on its way to killing Riker very slowly. But Riker keeps cracking jokes and making light of it, even though he loses more and more of his ability to move, and he's going into a coma. But then when he does go into a coma, he starts having dreams, and Deanna Troi and Pulaski determine the dreams affect this parasitic infection. They finally get to the point where they determine like scary dreams drive the infection out, so they pump him full of some sort of medication that causes those types of dreams, and eventually drives the infection out. He's just fine. In recovery, everyone's all happy. Picard walks in, and Riker calls him Admiral Picard and promotes himself to captain. Data thinks it's real. Data's telling Picard, I don't think you have the authority to promote me like that. And they laugh and they laugh. And that was basically it. This was a flashback episode. Some interesting notes in this one. They essentially ran out of money for the last two episodes, so they had to condense down. Went over budget. Sorry about that. They went over budget on the Borg episode. So, in order to condense down to make the last episode, they did a flashback show so they could cut production in half. That's why it was flashback after flashback, even though they only had the 2 seasons. Dr. Crusher was seen in this episode in flashbacks. Only time she was seen in an episode in season 2, she occasionally was mentioned. And then Worf and Wesley Crusher not in the episode except for flashbacks. Neither of the two of them were actually involved in the live portion of the show, if you will. We also have the last episode of Pulaski. They don't even really mention her the rest of the series. It's kind of on occasion we'll mention Pulaski, but they tried to forget she was ever there for the most part. But that wrapped up the second season, and we'll move on to the third season in the next episode.